For Clara, this year would mark the first time she'd enter the world of high school, a transition she contemplated with both excitement and trepidation. For Clara, this year would mark the first time she'd enter the world of high school, a transition she contemplated with both excitement and trepidation. She had always felt like an outsider, her love for old sci-fi movies and phantom books setting her apart from her peers. But this year was different. She had a plan. With the latest smartphone released just a day ago, Clara had saved up for months to own the coveted device. It promised impeccable features, a crystal-clear camera, lightning-fast processor, and even a triple AI system that could learn one's habits. It was advertised to be so advanced, it was practically a character on its own. When Clara unboxed the phone in her dimly lit room, a chill skittered down her spine. The sleek gadget shimmered like a new part of her soul. Firing it up, she was greeted by a splash screen that flickered in unusual colors, drawing her in with an allure she didn't quite understand. Little did she know, the allure carried a dark shadow. Back at school, Clara was eager to showcase her new acquisition. It was a class of eager chatter and semi-awkward small talk, and every glint of excitement was directed toward her. Days passed, and with each new day, strange things began to happen. During lunch, Clara took a selfie with her friends. The image came out clear and vibrant, except, there was an extra face behind them in the reflection of the window, a figure that wasn't there in the moment she snapped the picture. It was a blurry silhouette, the eyes black holes, hollow and hungry. "Did you see this?" Clara asked, her heart racing, but her friends brushed it aside with giggles, convinced it was merely a trick of the light. Late at night, Clara would scroll through the phone's endless apps and features, feeling as though something was watching her back through the screen. Each time she turned the phone off, she felt a shiver run through her. It became a routine until one evening, when Clara received a notification for a video call from a contact she didn't recognize, unknown caller. The phone buzzed ominously as the name flickered on the screen like an ominous lighthouse warning. With a mix of apprehension and curiosity, she answered. On the other end was nothing but static, a voice muffled and distorted. "Help me, Clara." The voice echoed through her earbuds, sending chills spiraling through her body. "They won't stop. They're inside the device." Quote, Clara slammed her phone shut, her heart pounding like a drum. The messages kept coming, haunting her through the night. Every time she turned off the lights, she would hear whispers seeping through the fabric of the night, murmuring her name, breathing in her solitude. It was only a matter of time before she would succumb to the madness. It became unbearable. The more Clara ignored the calls and messages, the more aggressive they became. Her phone's camera activated on its own, capturing moments without her consent. She'd wake up to pictures of her sleeping face smeared with dark shadows lurking in the corners of her room. The voice pleading with her grew fainter with every photo taken. Desperate to rid herself of the malevolent spirit stuck within the glimmering device, she decided to confront it head-on. After classes, she ventured to an old electronics shop rumored to have ties to the supernatural, guided by an urge she couldn't quite put into words. The shop was dimly lit, cluttered with dusty relics of technology. As she stepped inside, a bell tinkled, and a man with gray hair and piercing blue eyes greeted her. Clara explained her situation, her breath hitching as she spoke. "What you hold isn't just a smartphone, dear." He leaned forward, sympathy laced with something darker. "It has absorbed a spirit, a one desperate to interact with the living. It thrives on fear." Quote, "How can I get rid of it?" Clara asked, hope mingling with despair. "It has to willingly leave," he replied, pointing to a darkened room at the back. "You'll need an offering. Show it that it can find peace." Quote, Clara took a breath, heart pounding. She entered the room with her phone, a cold dread settling deep in her stomach. Shaking, she placed the device on an old, withered table and whispered, "I know you're in there. You don't have to be alone anymore. Leave this phone and find your rest." Quote, for a moment, silence enveloped the room. Then, the screen flickered violently, the chilling voice repelling her. "You cannot free me," it howled. The phone shook, vibrating with a life of its own, and a gust of wind swept through the room as her heart raced. Shadows stretched and twisted around Clara, reaching out for her. "Please," she shouted. "I want to help you." As if in response, the phone emitted a blinding light, illuminating the space around her. Clara's breath hitched as hands formed from shadows gripped her wrists. Let me go. At that moment, Clara realized the truth. This wasn't just about freeing the Espiritu but also letting go of her own fears. Let me go, she whispered. The shadows recoiled, as if her acceptance of fear broke their hold. With a final scream of anguish, the blue screen shattered into pixels, and an echo of frenzied laughter faded into silence. Clara stood amid the wreckage, her phone lying lifeless on the ground. She walked out of the shop, a new creature born of loss and strength, knowing she had faced her fears. High school would have its challenges, but as Clara stepped into the daylight, she felt free, each stride a reminder that sometimes, what haunts us can become a part of us we learn to embrace and release.